So next up, we'll go to our graduate student, Matthew Beck, wearing number 8 this season and continuing that great LSU tradition. Questions for Matthew? I believe Bree is up first.
Hey Matthew, congratulations on getting number 8. I'm sure that's a huge honor for you. If I remember correctly, I believe you were here back in 2017, correct? When last time you guys went to the College World Series. So being in that season, having such a great team like that, going to the College World Series, how do you feel about this team and having kind of that same mindset in order to get there again?
Yeah, that's a great question. Obviously, now on this team in 2021, I was the only member to be a part of that 2017 team that's been to Omaha. So obviously, I've used the experience that I've gained, from veteran leaders that were here when I was a freshman, like Jared Poche, Alex Lang, all those guys that have played such an integral role in teams, and use that to motivate and inspire and just consistently reiterate the level of commitment that it takes to get to Omaha.
Hey Matthew, this is Glenn West with LSU Country. Just talk a little bit about your journey for the last couple, 4 years. I mean, first couple of years you don't really see a whole lot of the on the field playing time. Last couple of years it's really kind of picked up for you. I mean, just kind of talk about your journey here a little bit and just kind of how you've gotten to this point to where you can be a senior leader and a major contributor out of the bullpen for you guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like my journey here has been full of the highest highs and the lowest of lows. I've gone through so many things with a mechanic standpoint and everything to that effect that's really allowed me to grow as a baseball player and more importantly as a person. I found out a lot about myself in those tough times. And, I found out a lot about myself during the great times. Just consistently trying to be the same person every single day, bringing the same effort and the same attitude and the same energy that it takes to inspire a team and lead a team. That like I alluded to earlier, that I saw so many people do when I was a freshman and sophomore, and just bringing those same ideals with a twist here or there, with a personal twist here or there, and just trying to motivate this team and our team to do what it takes and do the extra to get back to Omaha.
Hey Matthew, Jacques Doucet, WAFB Channel 9. Kind of lighthearted question for you. Are you now kind of the Zach Von Rosenberg of the team? You get the old man jokes a little bit. I know you're not 30, but it seems like you've been here for a while.
I get crushed. If only you could hear the locker room. And the funniest part about that, I'm not even the oldest person on the team. Aaron George is older than I am, and I get crushed. Aaron George and Nick Storrs both. When Nick was here, they're both older than I am. I'm like, hey man, come on, take it easy on me now.
Just to follow up, Matthew, you've obviously pitched with a lot of great guys. I mean, just collectively, tell me about this pitching staff and how good you guys can be.
I mean, if you look top to bottom, I think this is the most talented pitching staff that we've had here in my time. And I'd go back for a while saying this is one of the most talented pitching staffs that we've had. And, it's such a special group, too, because there's such a level of, not getting complacent and not, patting ourselves on the back for how good we could potentially be. We're always, searching for the next best thing, searching for, tidbits of information that could help somebody in a game, in practice, whatever it may be. So it's a very special group in that regard, and I think, we're going to determine our own destiny. I think we can pitch it with anybody in the country, and it's just a matter of executing our game plan and executing the things that we can control, and I think we'll be right where we want to be.
Ron Higgins, Tiger Rag Magazine. How long? There was like a 2-week gap from the time that they called the season off until the NCAA passed the rule that you can come back for another year. What was that 2 weeks like?
It was terrible. I mean, it was the roller coaster of emotions, thinking I may have played my last game on a midweek game, March 11th against South Alabama. It was that realization that I had to stomach that was a very real possibility. And obviously, once we found out, in between those 2 weeks, it was terrible. It was not a fun time to be thinking about baseball and thinking about feeling sorry for myself, honestly. And but once they came out 2 weeks later and said, that they're granting the seniors another year of eligibility, I mean, it felt like the biggest weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I was able to just relax and enjoy. I hate to use the word enjoy, but just sit back and do my part during the quarantine.
When they called the season off, I guess that toward that weekend, weren't y'all playing golf? I mean, you and a couple of guys were playing golf, but we're out at LSU just playing golf.
So we were March 12th. It was that Thursday. We were headed to Ole Miss, and they told us to pretty much go home. And so Cole Henry, and Eric Walker were playing golf at Santa Maria. Just thinking maybe we have 2 weeks off, just get in some golf. And that's when we were on the 7th hole. We had just teed off, and we saw the tweet saying that the College World Series had been canceled, and not shortly after that, Coach Maneri sent us a text saying the same thing. So it was. I remember it like it was yesterday, and from that point we just cashed it in and got our rain check on the back nine and left and went home.
Matthew, talk about having a pitching staff that could be one of the best y'all have ever had. So many things sort of worked out for it to happen that way, like with the shortened draft. Devin came back for reasons like that, and you came back because of the eligibility extension. I mean, at this time, like before last season even started, did you think a year ahead and could think that was even that it could still be intact like this?
Obviously, it's such an interesting dynamic. We've never had in a group return this many guys. Obviously, we lost Cole Henry, who's a big part of our staff, but we had somebody right behind him that was willing to step in and take the reins. We've returned so many guys that have played such a huge part in so many games throughout their career. Obviously, you mentioned Devin, the amount of things that he's done, Jaden, Landon, AJ, Trent, just to name a few. And then we have a group of freshmen that, obviously, like you alluded to, we got a few guys that we weren't necessarily expecting to get due to the draft. And once they shortened the draft, we got some guys on campus that are ready to compete and ready to get dudes out immediately. So it's made for a very interesting dynamic, and it's been so fun to be a part of. At the same time, it's been so fun to sit back and watch how talented some of these dudes are, and the amount of stuff that they have and their skill sets and how it's unique to each individual person. It's been awesome to be a part of.
Does that, if you don't mind to follow up, in some ways make this season for y'all, just at least as a pitching staff, almost feel maybe like an extension of last year because it's so many of the same guys and you'll actually now get the chance to really have a full season as a staff? Or does it just completely feel like a new year, new group?
A little bit of both, I'd have to say, obviously, because like I said, we lost Cole Henry. So everybody came back, and, there's that out for vengeance almost mentality from the guys that have returned. But then there's also that breath of fresh air with all the new guys that we've gotten in. So it's a little bit of both, I would have to say. And, I think it's made for such a great mindset amongst our pitching staff. There's that, the hunger for getting back out there and competing. And then there's those new guys just learning and searching for the answers that, some of us older guys have experienced throughout our time here.
Yeah, y'all have, as Ron Higgins again, Tiger Rag. I think you have like 20 pitchers on your staff. What's the meeting room like? Did you have to get an extension for it? I mean, 20 pitchers.
It's pretty much up in the bleachers more times than not, just to abide socially distance-wise and everything like that. And it's crazy because typically we'll have around that 17, 18 number, and obviously with the extended roster we're allowed to have a few more. But, we have 20 guys that are healthy and ready to compete, which is different than years past, obviously, when injuries and just various reasons take place. So it's been awesome, honestly, and it's such a competitive environment, but it's such an environment conducive to learning and feeding off of each other and, just really wanting to compete and wanting to have the ball in the biggest stages.
Last year when the season ended, you were really dialed in. What was it about last year when you started that year that you were so dialed in, and how do you feel like you can recreate that?
No doubt. I think it just had to do with my focus, knowing that this could potentially be my last year playing baseball. Obviously, speaking back to last year, and just that focus that I had to bring to the field every single day, and the energy and the effort that it took to compete at a SEC and a championship level. And I think that played huge dividends for me last year, and I've brought that same mindset this year, and I've tried to reiterate it to the guys every single chance I get that, you know, to be a championship staff, to be where we want to be at the end of the year, it takes that effort and it takes that focus every single day that you touch the ball.
Yeah, let's see. I think Joseph, you up?
Hey, Matthew, I know you talked about how confident you are in this pitching staff. I know that goes into the depth and the amount of people that you have available to you. You also hinted at how you lost Cole Henry, but you have the prospect of gaining Jaden Hill as a starter on, you know, in the rotation. So what is it like to be able to have him finally in that opportunity, and what do you think about the confidence it adds to the pitching staff?
Are you talking about Jaden as a starter now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Jaden obviously is one of the most gifted athletes that I've ever got to see in my life. I genuinely believe that he could toe it up on a Friday night, go play basketball the next day, and then have Sunday football practice. I mean, I think that's how talented he is. You know, but on top of all that talent, it's a culmination of so much work that he's put in. He has worked extremely hard every single day and committed his body and his effort and his time. And I heard him talking about earlier his mindset to taking on that workload and being a Friday night guy that we can hang our hat on every single day.
Okay, Jacques?
Matthew, is there any early feedback on walk-up songs? Who's got what? Is it too early for all that, or what's that looking like?
We actually just sent them in yesterday, so we've heard a few in the locker room, but not the full go. So it'll be interesting to see. I know Alex Milazzo is notorious for having a good one. Beloso is as well. So they've got some funny ones, I know, but I'll let that be a surprise.
Oh, Wilson, another question?
Yeah, if I could, real quick. I mean, how soon after the NCAA said you could come back did you decide to come back, and what went into that decision for you?
I mean, it was pretty shortly thereafter. Obviously, Coach called me pretty much as soon as he got the news that we were allowed to come back, and we obviously had to discuss, you know, what my academic path would be, and obviously I settled on getting my master's in business administration. So it was that, and then you know, it was a pretty easy decision. I felt that there was business left to be completed. We haven't won a national championship here in 12 years now, and you know, it eats at me every single day. I think about 2017 every single day, you know, watching Florida dogpile right in front of us and lift the trophy that, you know, I thought was ours. So it was a very easy decision when I think about that every day. And you know, obviously these guys, our time was cut short last year, and I think it's such a fun group of guys. It's such an interesting dynamic because we go out there and compete against each other every single day, and I hate to say it gets heated, but I mean, it's people competing with everything they got, and at the same time, 30 minutes later, we're in the locker room cutting up, having fun with each other. So, I mean, it's such an interesting dynamic, and it's so fun to be a part of. So it made that decision very easy.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else for Matthew? Great, thanks, Matthew.
Thank you, guys.